What's up, everybody? Justin here, back with a new countdown video, NFL themed football countdown video. I don't just love wrestling, and of course, watching it is one of my main hobbies. I don't just love wrestling, I love sports. I love baseball, MLB, I love the NFL. Football. If you don't know much about me, football, the NFL is my favorite sport out of all sports. And I'm a big baseball and basketball fan also. But football's number one to me. Always has been my number one favorite sport, not only to play, but to watch. And I played football a ton growing up. Played it a ton. And I loved it. Some of the best times of my life as a teenager and as a kid with friends was playing football in like below zero weather and snow and ice. It was good times. So, anyways, where I live in Wisconsin, we have all four seasons. We have fall and winter, and fall and winter is the best damn time to play football here. It's not too good to play football in the summer, let me tell you, because it's too damn hot. Football is a sport, in my opinion, that's a cold weather sport, should be played in the fall and winter. So this is my top 25 NFL players of all time, the best players that I've seen growing up watching, or some of them I've seen in person. I've been to about four. I know I've been to four. Been to like three preseason games, three Packers preseason games, and probably two regular season games. So I've been to 5 NFL games in my life. So this is from me growing up. A lot of these players I grew up watching, and they were damn good in my opinion. My top 25 NFL players. Why am I doing this countdown? Again, because I love football. I'm a big fan of the NFL. And also, football season is upon us. Tomorrow is or Thursday is the Green Bay Packers' first preseason game. Now, preseason is pretty damn boring, but still, the NFL season is upon us. Football's back. I think the first game is September 5th or something. I think it's like 3-4 weeks away. Is the NFL kickoff, the Green Bay Packers against the hated rival Chicago Bears. So, number 25 of my top 25 NFL players that I've seen. And I haven't seen all of them live, just watching games on TV. Number 25, Steve Young. Guy was pretty damn good. The guy was underrated, in my opinion. I believe he started in the USFL. I believe he played there before he went to the NFL, and then he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 80s, and they were really bad, I think. When Steve Young was on the Buccaneers, they were 0-16, I think. Maybe they weren't, but I think they might have been. They were really bad with Steve Young on there. Then he got traded to the 49ers. I don't know if he got traded, but he ended up on the 49ers. He was a backup for years at Joe Montana. And Joe Montana got injured, I believe. I know a lot about football, people. Steve Young got his chance to be a starter, and the guy's very good. Joe Montana then wanted to be traded, went to Kansas City, played for the Chiefs. And Steve Young did very good. The guy was a really good rushing quarterback. The guy was a really good quarterback. The guy won a Super Bowl finally by himself as a starting quarterback. He won the 49ers a Super Bowl in 1996. Or the 95 season and 96, I believe they won the Super Bowl. Or maybe it's 95 Super Bowl. I'm not really sure. The thing is 96. So number 25, Steve Young. Number 24, near and dear to my heart, a Green Bay Packer. Number 24, Sterling Sharp. He was a wide receiver. The guy was damn good as a wide receiver. In the late 80s, early 90s, the Packers were not very good at all. They didn't have many good players, but they had Sterling Sharp, their best player. The guy was really good. Then they got Brett Favre, of course, in 92 when he first started. So for like 1 or 2 years, or 2.5 years, Sterling Sharp got to play with Brett Favre. They were very good together. But then sadly, at the end of the 94 season, I believe, Sterling Sharp suffered a really bad neck injury. Got injured on the field. I don't know if he tried to rehab, but he could not return. He didn't want to return. He didn't want to risk being paralyzed, not being able to walk anymore. So he retired. I think it was after the 1994 NFL season, I think, is when Sterling Sharp had to retire. I think he was injured during the 94 season. Maybe it's 95, but I think it's 94. So number 24, Sterling Sharp. The guy sadly never won a Super Bowl. But the guy was one of the best receivers in Green Bay Packers history. Number 23. Number 23, Dan Marino. The guy was damn good. The guy threw the football really good. The guy could just throw bombs. The guy could just throw the football so damn beautifully. I mean, he threw bombs like 50, 60 yards. Dan Marino, very good. Very good quarterback. Got to a Super Bowl in the 80s. When he's really young. It might have been his rookie year, I'm not sure. But in the 80s, Dan Marino was the man. The guy had crazy years in the 80s, passing-wise. The guy threw for over 4,000 yards, I believe, a couple times in the 80s. That was unheard of. No other quarterback before him was doing that. So Dan Marino, the guy has great numbers. The guy's a ton of passing yards in his career. I'm not sure how many, but might be like 70,000, might be like 40, 50,000 passing yards in his career. I believe he also has like over 300 touchdown passes. The guy's very good. Sadly, Dan Marino never could get back to a Super Bowl in the 90s. Never won a Super Bowl, but the guy's still a Hall of Fame quarterback. Number 23, Dan Marino. I actually have old school 80s Dan Marino t-shirt where on the back it shows all his stats. And the guy's very good. The guy threw for a ton of yards in the 80s and in the 90s. Number 22. The guy's very good in Canada, in the CFL, I almost called it CFFL, I don't know why, but CFL, Canadian Football League. He was very good there. I believe he won a championship and I think an MVP in the CFL. The guy's very good there. Finally got a chance to come to the NFL. He was brought to the NFL, I believe, by the Houston Oilers, when they used to be called the Houston Oilers before they moved to Tennessee. But number 22, Warren Moon. The guy was very good. Very good quarterback with the Houston Oilers. And he's a very good quarterback with the Vikings, and I believe he's also with the Seahawks. Number 22, Warren Moon. Number 21, another Green Bay Packer, another personal favorite of mine. He was in his prime before I was born. He was in his prime in the 60s. For sure. I'm not sure if he played in the 70s. I don't think he did. He actually went on, I think, in the 80s to coach the Green Bay Packers. Number 21, the guy's a 6-time NFL champion. Before the Super Bowl existed, he won like six or seven world titles. And then he won, I think he's MVP also of Super Bowl I. I'm not positive, but I think he was an MVP of Super Bowl I or II. Anyways, he won Super Bowl I and II. Who am I talking about? Number 21, the late great Bart Starr. Really good quarterback. Guy's ahead of his time. And the guy was just on those dominating 60s Green Bay Packer teams. They were dominating. And they were definitely a dynasty. So sadly in 2019, we lost Bart Starr. Rest in peace, Bart Starr. Number 21, Bart Starr. The guy was a many-time world champion, and he won Super Bowl I and II. He's also, I believe, in the NFL Hall of Fame. And he's in the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. Number 20. Now, this might be controversial pick. A lot of people watching this, if you're football fans, maybe you don't like the guy. Maybe you hated him. He was controversial. But the guy did play hard, and he was a really good wide receiver. Number 20, Terrell Owens, T.O. The guy was in his prime for sure in San Francisco. He was in his prime. Had a lot of good years with a couple good years with Steve Young and then Jeff Garcia. And then went on to the Cowboys. He did okay with Romo was his quarterback. And that's when he bursted out at some press conference. I don't know why, but he bursted out, started crying, saying, "That's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback." I don't know why he burst out. I had to start crying, defending Romo, saying that's my quarterback. Then he's crying about it. I don't know why. That is really stupid. But went on to play for the Eagles, took them to a Super Bowl. They would have never got to the Super Bowl if they didn't have T.O. I'm sorry, they wouldn't have, in my opinion. Because Donovan McNabb, the guy got to 3 NFC championships before, I think, and lost them. I don't think he got to the Super Bowl until he had T.O. So then after the Eagles, I don't know where else T.O. played. 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles. I don't think he played for nobody else. Oh, Buffalo. He actually came back and I think he might got traded. Played for the Buffalo Bills. So T.O. number 20. I believe he's in the NFL Hall of Fame. Finally, the guy should be. I believe he's ranked number 2 as one of the all-time greatest receivers. Touchdown-wise. He's right behind Jerry Rice, I believe. Number 20, T.O. Number 19. I hate this team's guts. I really do, and I'm not afraid to say it. I don't like them. They're scum. I don't like the team. Never have, never will. They're a hated rival of my Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, but this guy was a great player. I thought he's a bit too cocky, a bit too overconfident. Never won a Super Bowl, and that makes me happy he never won a Super Bowl. And it makes me happy the Vikings have still never won a Super Bowl. That really makes me happy. So, number 19, a really good wide receiver. Played for the Minnesota Vikings. Cris Carter, number 19. Number 18. Played for the Philadelphia Eagles. Was in his prime there. Was damn good. Really innovative. Ahead of his time quarterback. He was a running, moving quarterback before basically anybody else did it. He could run the ball really good. He had a ton of rushing yards as a quarterback. He also had a really good year. I think it was 97, 98, 96. He was with the Vikings, I think, for 1 year. He had a really good year with the Vikings. I think they were in the playoffs that year. Who am I talking about? Number 18, Randall Cunningham. The guy was damn good and ahead of his time. Number 17, a Cowboy. Not a fan of the Cowboys. I don't hate them, but will never be a fan of them, and I disagree. They are not America's team. Yeah, profit-wise, somehow they're ranked number 1 as the most profitable sports franchise. The Cowboys somehow are number 1. Even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in over 25 years. But whatever. Their fans are passionate. Cowboys fans are passionate and love their Cowboys. And I respect that. But I don't know. Especially in the 90s, my Packers had a big-time rivalry with the Cowboys. And maybe I'm bitter. Because the Packers kept getting knocked out of the damn playoffs in the 90s by the Cowboys and those great Cowboy teams. Why am I calling them great Cowboy teams? Because they were a dynasty. They won 3 Super Bowls. They had Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. 3 Hall of Fame great players. All-time great players. Number 17, Troy Aikman. The guy sadly had to retire because of too many concussions. I think he had to retire after 99 or 2000 he retired. I'm not sure the year, but 99 or 2000 or 98. He had to retire. And Troy Aikman, the guy, was a great quarterback, was a great manager at managing the quarterback position. Probably was a great leader because he had a ton of egos in that locker room. A lot of big personalities he had to deal with. So, Troy Aikman, number 17. And maybe he should be above this guy, but because this guy at number 16 never won a Super Bowl, but he went to 4 straight Super Bowls. That's pretty damn amazing, and that's a hell of an accomplishment, in my opinion. Even though he lost 4 Super Bowls, and my God, that's heartbreaking. I still can't get over that. You go to 4 straight Super Bowls and you lose. That if I was a Buffalo Bills fan, I still would not be over that. And I was a really young kid when they went to their first Super Bowl in 1990. I was 6 years old. So I was a really young kid, but I felt really bad for the Bills and their fan base. Number 16, Jim Kelly. Really good quarterback. The guy was really good. The guy's battled cancer 2 or 3 times. The guy survived it and won his fight in battle with cancer. I hope the guy lives a long life and at least 20 more years. Jim Kelly, the guy's had a lot of heartbreak in his life. The guy lost a son that was disabled when his son was really young. The guy lost 4 Super Bowls. And then the guy got cancer. Like 2 to 3 times he's gotten cancer. But he's beaten it. The guy's a great inspiration. Number 16, Jim Kelly. I remember in the 90s growing up as a fan of football, watching him. The guy was great. The guy started and was drafted I believe, by the USFL. And then he went to the NFL. And the guy is really good in the USFL. If you ever can look up highlights look him up of Jim Kelly in the USFL, he's really good there. I believe he broke a ton of records and set records. Number 15, from another rival team of mine, the Chicago Bears. Number 15, Walter Payton. One of the greatest running backs of all time. Damn good. Won the 1985 Super Bowl. Won Super Bowl 25. I think it's 25. I don't know the year, but 1985, the Bears won the Super Bowl, and Walter Payton was a major part of it. Number 15, Walter Payton. Rest in peace, Walter Payton. If you're a wrestling fan like me, fun fact, Walter Payton appeared at SummerSlam 94. Number 14. So again, number 15 was Walter Payton. Number 14, Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp, the guy was great. Great defensive lineman. Damn good. The guy was feared. I remember the battles in the 90s and 2000s that Warren Sapp had great battles against Brett Favre and trying to get to Brett Favre. So number 14, Warren Sapp. He played for the Buccaneers. The guy's a Hall of Fame type player on defense. Then he went to the Raiders at the end of his career. Number 13. Number 13, let's see here. I didn't write anybody down for 13. Let me just think here. Who would be number 13? I'm going to put, I don't know. Number 13, I'm going to go with a Green Bay Packer. Jordy Nelson. Great wide receiver. Just retired as a Packer. Signed a one-day contract to retire. I'm not sure the number of touchdowns he had, but I think it's like 65 or something. The guy had a ton of touchdowns. Rodgers and Nelson, Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson were money. They had great chemistry and they had a ton of touchdowns together. They broke the record all time for Green Bay Packers. Quarterback and wide receivers touchdowns record. I believe they broke the record of Brett Favre and I think Antonio Freeman, or Brett Favre, Donald Driver maybe, but whatever. Now I'm going to say it right now. I think Davante Adams, great wide receiver on the Packers right now. I'm going to say Davante Adams breaks Jordy Nelson's touchdown record as a wide receiver. So number 13, Jordy Nelson. The guy won a Super Bowl. The guy's in the playoffs a ton of years over and over. Number 12, Lawrence Taylor, one of the greatest. I think he was a defensive back. Defensive lineman. One of the greatest defensive players in NFL history is LT. Not LaDainian Tomlinson, not him. The other LT that played in the 80s, that partied like crazy, that actually main evented WrestleMania 11. That Lawrence Taylor that had a drug problem, had a problem with going to a lot of prostitutes and getting busted. And the guy partied like crazy, did a ton of cocaine, but the guy still performed. The guy's a Hall of Fame player. Number 12, Lawrence Taylor. The guy's on those Giants teams in the 80s. I believe they won 3 Super Bowls, or at least 2. Number 11, Peyton Manning. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Has like over 500 touchdown passes, I believe. The guy's like number 1 ranked in all these quarterback record, all these stats. He's like number one. I believe Tom Brady will probably break all his records, but that's okay. Number 11, Peyton Manning. The guy was really good quarterback. Really, really good. The guy probably should have won more than 2 titles, but he won 2 titles. Number 10. Now we're down to the top 10. Number 10, a Viking. Also a Patriot. Also a 49er. I didn't like him when he's on the Vikings. I actually hated his guts. I didn't like him. Because again, my team is the Packers. I hate the Vikings. But number 10, the guy's in the Hall of Fame, I believe. The guy's one of the greatest receivers of all time. Not the greatest, but one of. Number 10, Randy Moss. Number 10. Number 9. This guy's kind of pretty controversial quarterback. He's controversial because of what he did off the field. Really bad what he did off the field. The guy was into dog fighting on his property. He had pit bulls and he's fighting them. He's training them. He's killing them. It was not good. It was awful. I hated it. Anybody that abuses animals, you're scum. You deserve to be in jail forever and burn in hell. Because the animals cannot protect themselves. If you're beating them with weapons or beating them, they're afraid of you. And they don't want to fight back because they're too damn scared. I'm sure they probably wish they could run away, especially dogs that are abused. I'm sure they wish they could run away, but you probably got them fucking chained up. So, again, animal abusers, I fucking hate you. You're scum. If you ever have abused an animal. If you've ever spit at an animal, I hate you. If you've ever done anything to an animal, that's bad. So number 9, the guy was off the field. I'm taking his off the field issues aside because what he did was god awful. God awful. Nobody should ever do that to dogs or any animals. But he did serve his time. I'm not defending him, but he did serve his time. I don't know how much time he served. Maybe he got 22 months or 18 months. I'm not sure. But he did serve some time. I believe he's given back a lot of money to animal cruelty charities to fight animal cruelty. I believe he's started his own charity. I don't know, but I believe he's giving back to charities to fight animal abuse. Number 9, Michael Vick. Again, I'm not talking about what he did off the field. I'm talking about what he did on the field. With the Falcons, the guy was like just unreal. The guy was a living video game character in Madden. It was like what he was doing, running for scoring touchdowns, running 45, 50, 60, 70 yards, and just juking people and making them miss. Nobody could catch him. He was like a real life video game character that we were watching. Number 9, Michael Vick. Number 8, great defensive player, one of the all-time greats. So happy he got to win a Super Bowl, and it was for my team, the Green Bay Packers. Before the Packers, he was a great Philadelphia Eagle, number 8, the great Reggie White. Another guy, Reggie White, that appeared and wrestled for WCW. He actually had a wrestling match on a pay-per-view in May of 97 at Slamboree. 97. Reggie White actually got to wrestle a match. So number 8, the guy was dominating, a dominant defensive player when he was on the Packers. The guy was dominating. Played for the Eagles, the Packers, and the Panthers. And Reggie White was such a great guy. The guy was just a really nice guy. And the guy was taken way too soon. Number 8, Reggie White. Number 7, greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice. One of the greatest. 4-time Super Bowl champion with the 49ers. He was on the dynasty 49ers teams in the 80s and the 90s. He won a Super Bowl. Maybe he won 5 Super Bowls. I think he won 5. One with Steve Young. So Jerry Rice, number 7. He won Super Bowls with, played for the 49ers, played for the, I believe, Seattle Seahawks, played for the Raiders. And that was weird. When I think of Jerry Rice, I think of him as a 49er. Number 6, another 49er, all-time great quarterback, won 4 Super Bowls in a row. Tom Brady's never done that. Tom Brady's lost. He didn't win 4 in a row. I believe he's lost a couple. He did not win 4 in a row. Number 6, Joe Montana, great 49er. One of the greatest 49ers of all time. In 93-94 season, he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he was there 2 years. Actually got the Chiefs in the playoffs. And he was still pretty good as a Chief. So number 6, Joe Montana. Number 5, one of the greatest running backs of all time. I don't care if he has the all-time records. He doesn't. I believe Emmitt Smith does. But this guy's just like a video game character on the field. Nobody could stop him. You couldn't stop him from scoring. He was like unstoppable. Number 5, Barry Sanders. The guy was unreal. The guy was damn good. Really damn good. And I got to see him play a lot. The guy dominated the Packers a lot. And dominated every team he played against. I get why Barry Sanders walked away and left. He walked away in his prime. Probably because he's sick of being on the loser Lion teams because they were losers. They never went Super Bowls. They barely made the playoffs. But still, Barry Sanders, the guy could have played like 5 more years and could have went to another team and probably would have won a Super Bowl. Number 4, Tom Brady. If you have any top NFL players countdown, you got to have Tom Brady on it. 6 Super Bowl rings. The guy's a 6-time Super Bowl champion. I lost count how many AFC championships Tom Brady has been to, but it's been a lot. It's been probably like 12 championship games or more. And the guy's won the division title like 14 times or more in their division. So number 4, Tom Brady. Number 1 and 2, I'm biased because they're Packers. Number 3, after Tom Brady. Number 3, prime time Deion Sanders. The guy was cocky as hell. The guy talked a lot of trash, but he backed it all up. Again, the guy talked a lot in the media to other receivers, but the guy could back it up. The guy's one of the greatest cornerbacks on defense of all time. Probably the greatest. I believe he has the most interceptions of any player, I think. The guy has a ton of punt returns to return his touchdowns. The guy was so damn good. Deion Sanders played for a lot of teams. And the guy's a two-sport athlete. The guy played for the Braves in the MLB, played for the Reds, the Braves, the Yankees, and I don't know who else. But he started with the Falcons. He was actually on the Falcons team when Brett Favre was there as a rookie in '91. Also, after the Falcons, he went to the 49ers. Yeah, he went to the 49ers before the Cowboys. I think he might have won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. I'm not sure. I know he won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, but played for the Falcons, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Redskins, the Ravens. So he played for a lot of teams. But still one of the greatest NFL players of all time. Number 3, prime time Deion Sanders. And not just NFL players, the guy's a great athlete. The guy played baseball and football in the same season. That's amazing. That's like unheard of nowadays. Nobody does that anymore. Bo Jackson, he could have been on this list, but sadly he didn't play in the NFL long enough, I don't think. But he was dominating as a running back for the Raiders. Bo Jackson, I think he was a better baseball player, to be honest, than football, but he was a two-sport athlete. Bo Jackson was a beast. I think he tore both of his quads. Or his hip bone came out or something. Gruesome injury that ended his football career. He tried to rehab, he couldn't come back. Number two, Aaron Rodgers. And yes, he deserves to be on this top 25 NFL players, my top 25. At least he won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl. Guy's been to the playoffs a ton. Yeah, he should have won more. Yeah, he should probably have 3 Super Bowl rings, but I blame the coaching. Mike McCarthy. I'm glad you're gone because you were pretty god-awful. You only got the Packers to 1 Super Bowl in like 12 years. That's unacceptable. So, I'm not saying Mike McCarthy's a bad coach, but the guy really pissed me off what he did, how he coached the last 5 years. And Rodgers deserves a little bit of blame, but the coaching was atrocious. The defense was god awful for a lot of years. Defense was bad. The only time we had a great defense was when we won the Super Bowl with when we had what's his name? Not Rod Woodson. Charles. We had Charles Woodson. He was Defensive Player of the Year. The year we won the Super Bowl. That's when our defense was great. The defense has never been good enough or great for Aaron Rodgers to succeed. The guy does not play defense. The guy can't do everything. So number 2, Aaron Rodgers. The guy is, in my opinion, one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen play. The guy is so fun to watch. When he's playing good, the guy's unstoppable. The guy can throw the ball in just places no other quarterback can throw it to complete passes. So number 2, I will admit, Aaron Rodgers should have 2 or 3 Super Bowls, but it is what it is. I still blame the coaching and the defense. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. Number 1, Brett Favre. Yes, I know he only won 1 Super Bowl, but he got to 2. He got to 3 3 or 4 NFC championship. I think 3 or 4 or 5 NFC championship games. The guy was a 3-time MVP. The guy was an Iron Man. The guy is still, his record, I don't think will be broken. It could be, but I don't think it will be. Brett Favre is one of the greatest. He's number 1 because the guy was an Iron Man and did not miss a start. For 16 or 17 years, he did not miss a game because of injury. That's unheard of. Playing football in the NFL. And he played in the 90s, in the early 90s, when you were allowed to just light the quarterback the hell up. You were allowed to hit him in the mouth, hit him in the face guard, just hit them in the head, slam their head into the turf. That's when Brett Favre played, when football was still it's still physical. It will always be a physical, violent game, but in the 90s and early 2000s, it was more violent. They let the quarterback absolutely get destroyed and taken down without calling flags, without roughing the passer. It was pretty insane. I mean, it was even tougher. The game was even tougher in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Excuse me. They barely caught any roughing the passer, I don't think, ever in the 50s, 60s, or 70s, or 80s. In the 90s, they did a little bit, but not much. I mean, they let defensive players take out quarterbacks' legs, jump on their head, pull their neck. I mean, grab you by the neck, pull you down. It was insane. So Brett Favre, the guy was an Iron Man, one of the toughest goddamn players I've ever seen. Because the guy kept getting up and he did not miss a start for over 15, 16 years. I'm not sure how long his streak lasted, but lasted like 16, 17 years, I believe. Maybe 15. So number one, Brett Favre. I hope you enjoyed my countdown of my top 25 NFL players of all time. I enjoy doing it because I love football. I'm a fan of football. Always will be. I love my Green Bay Packers. I hope they have a great season. I hope they go to the Super Bowl and win it. But no matter what, I will support my Packers, win or lose. So, bye for now. What do you think of my top 25? Leave in the comments some of your greatest NFL players, or tell me on Twitter at WWE NXT Guy. You can tweet me some of your favorite and best NFL players you have ever seen. Bye for now.